this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. Today I had another little experiment. The first one is not super successful. What happened was I saw on Facebook photos of the Lavinia Stamps Christmas baubles. You can buy them as sets, they do sell inserts. But I reminded myself that I actually do have some of these plastic baubles. I just grabbed this heart-shaped one. You can get them very cheaply from local stores at the moment. And I thought I'd have a go at creating my own. And for me, there are two ways of doing that because you want a clear insert. So one idea I had was to just use acetate and to heat emboss on the acetate in white. The problem I had with this is not proper heat resistant acetate. You can buy that. This is actually just a piece of a visor. So what happened when I heat set this? First of all, I only used the anti-static powder tool on the front. Thought it doesn't matter that I have some left on the back, but obviously that heat set as well. So I've got a bit of a spread there of powder, which is not too bad because it's going to look wintry anyway in a moment. But the main thing is that this is actually warped. So if you have heat resistant acetate, you can use that. I can warm this up a little bit and flatten this underneath a board. I could do that, and I think I will give that a try. But the other method, I want to show you that on camera. This obviously I did off camera. So what I did beforehand is I just drew myself a template so I know where I'm stamping. Got a bit of residue powder here. And I have got a laminating sheet, a laminating pouch. So I'm going to just stamp in this pouch, and what I'm using is this Versa Magic Cloud White. This is an archival ink, and that can, once it's dry, can be heat embossed, or well, not heat embossed, but be put through a laminator and then will be preserved in this. Obviously the laminating sheet at the moment is not clear. It's got this milky look, but once you set it through the laminator, it will dry clear. I'm using the same motif. I've got one of the whimsical hairs. This is a jumping one, and I've got here, this is the mystic swirl, which I liked. So with the heat embossing, it was a bit tricky to see what I had already stamped, so you have to sometimes look against the light, but this one will be so much easier. So just fold this back again, making sure it doesn't close shut before this is dry. Also apologies, there's a little hair, I think that's from my paintbrush. So I'm just inking these up as normal. Making sure I've got enough ink on there because I'm not using the stamping platform. So I want this to be a good saturation when I stamp it. Obviously you can use other colours, but I like the look of white. So I'm just pressing this down, making sure the ink ends up on the laminating pouch. You can't see much at the moment. Yeah, I wondered earlier, but the bottom is actually quite fuzzy. There's the hairs here. I wondered earlier with that one whether that had bled a little bit. So, and now I'm just adding swirls around this. I'm being generous with the pouch and with the space around it because when I cut it afterwards by hand, I've got plenty of space to play with. So, trying to turn this round a little bit. Oh, I hope I'm not catching the hair there. No, I've just got away with it. The advantage of using the ink is as well, the lines are much finer than you can get that with your embossing powder. So I leave this to dry now. It needs to dry before you seal up the laminating pouch. And then tips for using this in the laminator. For most of the machines, you need something for the machine to grab onto, otherwise your laminator will eat the laminating pouch, because normally you've got a piece of paper in it. So you can either put a little strip of paper or even a thicker cardboard at the top. That's why I left a bit of space. Or you can cut this out and fold an A4 piece of paper and put this basically like in a pouch, because you want this to, as I said, for the machine to grab properly. And normally in the first go this closes quite nicely. If you're struggling, you can put it in again. I find the if I don't leave my laminator on for too long and it doesn't get too hot, I get the best results. Having said that, I just bought a new laminator, so I'll have to give that a try. And obviously, if you didn't want to waste your pouches, you can put something else on here. Oh, and one more thing I would like to mention. I have tried in the past to laminate embossing powder. Not a good idea. That just melts into one big blob, so that's not a good idea. But yeah, you can use this archival ink. I assume you could use something like VersaFine Clair. That should work as well, or the normal VersaFine, you know, if you wanted to do this in black. So I'm going to leave this to dry and put it through my laminator off camera, and then I'll show you what it looks like. I waited about 10 minutes and I thought the archival ink was dry. I cut the top of the laminating pouch off, and then I did this as I suggested to you, folded a piece of A4 paper and just ran it through the die cutting machine like this. But when I took it out, I just put some black cardstock underneath for you to see this. It is a bit smudged and a bit undefined in the back. You can see the swirls are all okay, but I think the ink was a bit too wet here. So I'm going to dismiss this piece, but in general it does work, because you can see how fine the details are here. And it does warp a little bit like that as well. Obviously it does with the heat, but it is, in general, it is okay. So I think I will use my first piece. I warmed it up a little bit more. It is still a bit warped, but I think once it's in the heart, I won't even notice as much, and I quite like this actually. So, but as I said, if you've got heat-resistant acetate, you should be okay. So I'm going to cut this to size now. I have got my template here already. I use the this part here that is a bit slimmer, the one that goes into the lid, because then I know that this is about the size I want. I need it a little bit smaller to actually fit inside here. So I'm going to just cut this to size. I think I will use just my Sharpie, one of my Sharpies, and draw around this, but outside of the pencil line, and then that gives me a very vague idea where to cut it. So I'm just placing this down here. Because it's warped, it's not that easy, but it'll be okay. So I don't need a full line. You can just do a little bit like this, like a stitch line. And I probably have to go back anyway a few times to make adjustments, but this gives me a very vague idea. So I quickly cut this off camera, make sure I've got the top bit right, because I can't really cut the shape there, and I'm testing this before I'm going to close this up. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some fake snow in this. You can, this time of year, you can easily, very cheaply buy fake snow, and I might even pop a bit of glitter in here. I just realised if I put this on the other side, not where I've got the rim here, I can actually sit it on the inner rim and get a very good idea, because if I measure it to there, I can sit it on the inner rim and then it will stay in place rather than moving about on the inside. So I'm just going in with my pen again and mark this a bit better, and then cut it till it fits perfectly. Yes, I'm happy with this now. It fits in, obviously, because it warps a little bit. It is a bit boisterous, but I think it'll be fine. So once I seal this off, it'll sit very nicely in here, and I really like the look of that. So as I said, I'm going to put in some fake snow. I'm not decorating it any further, but you could do that. You could glue sequins on here if you wanted to and embellish it even more, but I will leave it plain as it is because I want to put some embellishments on the top of the heart. I don't know if this will help, but I think I will use a little bit of anti-static powder in here. Also make sure you don't have any sticky fingers, or like I have now, like a hair from the brush, otherwise you won't be able to remove it afterwards. So I will just put a bit, I've got this very fine snow. You can also buy these little snow balls. I think they might be nice. Just putting a little bit in so that will sit at the bottom. Then I put this one in. I will sprinkle a little bit on the top. I'm not quite sure how much I can put in there without spilling it. Apologies, I'm still switching the camera off in between because I still sometimes get a little cough attack, but I'm mostly recovered from it. So I think I will just put a bit on top here. Ooh, that's all, it might be a bit too much already. And I won't glue this shut with glue, I would just put some tape on the outside. There you go. So I think that's quite nice. So we'll just put some clear tape on either side, and I think that will hold it enough in place because it's quite well attached. I just wanted to show you a few options for decorating. I like, with this white look, I like to have a bit of green and red with this. So I've got these ready-made decorations here. I think these are from the works. They're just felt leaves and little berries already glued on, and I think I'll go for these, and I could just attach them here with my hot glue gun. But the other option I thought would be really nice. I buy these as garland ties. Again, you can get these at this time of year, and I would cut this down, have a little piece on the top, maybe even sitting like this across the middle there, and then some red berries, or even the red berries on their own. But at the moment I thought this would be a bit too overbearing, and then you can't see the heart anymore. But if you've got bigger baubles, they will definitely work nicely. And then I wanted to show you another little tip. I've got this ribbon here, but it's quite wide and it's really tricky to get through the hole. So I'll put some clear tape on the other end, on one end, and I'm just twisting this, and then I can feed this through just like this. Says she, but it's definitely easier. Yeah, there we go. If you struggle, again, get your pokey tool out. Just help that to push through, and then it's easy to pull this through and arrange it like this. So I'm quickly going to put my glue gun on, stick these on, and then I'll show you the finished bauble. I've glued my leaves down. I put a spot of glue here on this one first, made sure that was in place properly, and then I put another glue dot each under these, and then I just press these down to follow the shape of the heart. And I just did this on this side and then turn it around and did it on this side, and I think it's really nice. Just wanted to show you one more little trick. I've just cut off the ribbon here at the top, and it wants to fray a little bit. What you need is a lighter, and you just use that and just go along here a little bit just to seal the ends with the heat, and that will stop them from fraying. So yeah, I think this is really nice, really cute. And yeah, if you like this one too, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video.